This is the one. Hi. I think I'm here. Hi, Defines. It's still a little warm in here. And I'm trying to survive. Okay, so it's been a minute since I've actually been in Godot. Got a whole like version upgrade and a small patch in between. That hopefully will make certain things a little easier if I... Oh, that might be 4.8. So I have two kind of like immediate goals in front of me right now. And one of them was the map stuff that we were designing, right? And I feel like I got some good progress on that, and that's nice and all that stuff. But the other thing is the player character controller, because that is like literally the main thing you'll be interacting with. Oh, I should 1 second. I should open up my notes. I can't whistle. These are my two big to-do things that I'd like to get done. For the end about the character controller, the character controller kind of works. If this works, we'll see. Oh yeah, baby, this is embedded. That's nice. So I can look around, I can walk, I can sprint, I can crouch. And when I crouch under an object, I don't lift up, right, until I'm like out of the object. I stay crouched. I believe I can hit a button. Yes. I don't know if this one does anything. Not yet. I'm trying to get sitting to work. Doors, I'm still having a little bit of trouble with. Does this one work? No. Yeah, it does. It's just that this one is bad. Regular door works, even though the texture on it is a little strange. That's good. And I've got like a small interior and whatever. But like, there's a lot of stuff I'm working out. Like the door size is 2.1 meters by 1.2 meters, right? Height of the character is 1.8 meters. These are all like super little details that I'm trying to work on. But other than that, everything works as it's supposed to. Got a little bit of an environment set up here just for testing. The problem is, this is all stuff that I've kind of cobbled together from an existing character controller and some stuff from YouTube tutorials. And it's already getting very hard to figure out. And I know, you know, I'm not a software developer, but I know from having looked at software developers for, oh my god, 20 years, that the key is to understand what your code does and to have it look good and to have it make sense. And so I think what I want to do, and I've been meaning to look at a bunch of tutorials, and it's still early. Maybe we'll look at a bunch of tutorials. I don't know. To just kind of get a better overview of how the code flows. Because some of it is a state machine, some of it is stuff that I just put together, and I'm fine with, look, if my inspiration is my summer car, which at least before all the AI was like a mess technologically, and I know of like highly successful indie games that are like one-man shows or very small teams where the code is just a mess. I'm fine with that. I don't need the code to be beautiful, whatever. I'm not working for corporate. If I can understand it, it's good. I'm unlikely to have to hire a technical person to untangle it for me or to add stuff. I don't see that as part of the plan. And even if I do, then whatever. Then I'll be paying them to try to untangle it, as long as they're not using Claude or whatever, right? But I would like it to... I'm already sensing that I'm not understanding it. So, I'm going to have to take a look at the code. We have a character controller, and we have the seat. And then we have interaction components that I got from some YouTuber. Because I have a unique system for the character controller. And most of that doesn't exist yet. But I have different ways of interacting. Do I have anything else here? No. I have different ways of interacting, different abilities, and I want to... I want things to make sense. Right? Okay, so you can stand. Obviously, standing. That is idle, right? That is the default state. You can walk. Again, basic movement stuff, relatively simple. You can sprint. Again, basic movement stuff, relatively simple. You can jump, basic. You can zoom. Can I zoom? Which button would that be? I had a zoom. Yeah, okay, that's middle mouse. It doesn't look good yet, but I find for first-person adventure games in which you're interacting with a lot of objects and there's like notes to read and buttons to press, I find a zoom to be pretty essential. I think having it on middle mouse probably not a good idea in the end, but we'll see. You can sit, okay? So sitting is a kind of interaction. So the way I have it in my head, and I'm trying to kind of describe it for myself and describe it in the code from the player's perspective, how they would be experiencing things. And one of those ways is there's two kinds of interaction, and I have labeled them hand interact and body interact. And hand interact is stuff you click on. So a light switch, right? That is a hand interact. Right? A door is a hand interact. I think that makes sense, right? And then the other interact is a body interact. And that is mostly sitting on stuff, I think. I don't know what else would be a body interact now that I think. Well, potentially like lying down on a bed. Anything that would change that it would change kind of the state from movable to not movable. Right? If you sit in a car, that is a sit, that is a body interact. It's a special kind of sit because it gives you access to the car's controls. If you sit in a chair, your body will move and you will now sit on the chair. It's so weird to have to like it's when you're a game developer, I guess you're a kind of god. And it's so weird to have to describe these super essential basic things. But like hand interact is pushing buttons, moving objects, grabbing things, interacting with stuff that the player character would imagine they are doing with their hands. I haven't decided yet whether or not there will be like first-person hand models. Well, there will be for some things, right? I haven't decided yet. That's like a maybe because it'll be a lot more work. But that's hand interact, and then there's body interact. So do I have interact here? Hand interact. Picking up items. Also hand interact. I think I just need to describe it as hand interact. That's like pushing buttons, opening doors, grabbing stuff. And then body interact is sitting, using bed, anything that changes body stuff. But the hand interact is complicated by the fact of the interface system I am trying to design. The interface system allows you to do certain things with items held in your hand. Like you can use them, right? If I grab a flashlight, it's in my hand now. I want to be able to then point that and use it, right, as a flashlight. But I also have I call it the underarm inventory. Basically, my solution for being able to pick up more than one item at a time is you can put items of a certain size under your left arm, and you can hold like 3 small items or 2 medium items or 1 large item. And that way you have that on you and you can carry it with you, but you can still use your right hand for other things. So that will require another kind of button, right? I suppose I could call this held item interact. That might not be a bad one. Held item interact. Held item interact. It's like use or put or drop or put away stuff into under a UAI. So see, this is how you have to think about it. I pick up a flashlight. With the item that I have in my hand, there are 3 things I can do. With the item in my hand, there are 3 things I can do. I can put it back, put it down, drop it, whatever that looks like. Place it, maybe? I don't know if I'm gonna have like those little physics items that you can stack. I can use it potentially if it's a usable item. Think a flashlight, think any kind of item that has a usable thing. Or I can put it in my underarm inventory. And then underarm inventory has its own controls then too of a hand interacting with the underarm inventory. I remember what's it called? Landlord Super has this thing of the tools are like on your tool belt that are actually like on your body and you have to look down to grab them. Would it be a look at the underarm inventory to grab items? Let me write that down as a thought. I don't have that written down. Underarm inventory. Do I do a landlord's super type thing where you look at item to grab it if hand is free? Interesting. And then the other thing I have is you have items on your body. Extension of sitting. You have inventory. No, you have use pocket items. You have items on your body, you have your phone, you have your wallet, and those you can just kind of grab at any time, assuming your hands are free. Pick up items. No, there's another one. Pick up non-usable items. No, pick up items. Use usable items. Put items in UAI, or use items on other items. On other items? Like trash to trash can. Yeah. There's still a lot to work out here. And I am currently I'm procrastinating. I am delaying. I am trying to, like, not look at the code. Which is the whole point of this morning. And I don't know to what extent I might be able to actually figure this out today. But I'm gonna try my best. The point is, okay, the goal. Hey, Fries, how are you doing today? The point is that I'm gonna look at the code and I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna click on the open script button for p1_character.gd, and we're gonna try to remember what everything is. We can close this because it is currently 585 lines long. You're at work. I hope it's a quiet day so you can watch, or at least a quiet morning. Okay. So, extends character body 3D. Understand what that is. Okay. We have an export group. That is for all this stuff. Character. Alright. Settings for the character's move and feel. I don't need all these comments. I'm sorry. I don't need all these comments. These comments from the quality first-person controller V2 that I stole. Give me just a second, I heard something. Yeah, okay, so this is from the quality first-person controller V2 that I got from the asset store. Okay, speed, base speed is also self-explanatory. Don't need. Run speed is also self-explanatory. Crouch speed is also self-explanatory. How fast the character speeds up and slows down when motion smoothing is on. I see. Like, when motion smoothing is on. I don't know about motion smoothing, what I've got in there. P1 character. Do I have any other scripts in here? I just have the debug panel. What was the button for the debug panel? What was the button for the debug panel? That's got to be in here somewhere. In the character controller. Debug. Region debug menu. F7. If I hit F7. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, I can't. I don't know what is F7 on my keyboard. 3, 4, 5, 6. This is F7. There we go. Alright, that's good to know. I still don't remember what. Use item is F. What is use body? R. Okay, I got some of that worked out. Okay, acceleration. How high the player jumps. No, don't need that. How far the player turns when the mouse is moved. Don't need that. Invert the x-axis. That. Whether the player... I'm gonna turn on word wrap if I can. Whether the player can use movement inputs does not stop outside forces or jumping. I might want to turn off jumping. Bob note. Let's go back to the character. These need to just be normal comments. Bob note. Might want to have it disable jumping as well. I don't know what I would use immobile for. So this is something to consider. The radical file, right? This is something. Radical is something I want to change. Bob note. Wanna change radical. We've all learned from Mirror's Edge that at least a tiny little dot in the middle of a first-person game helps somewhat with motion sickness for some people. But right now, the way this system has it, it's like a little bitmap, and I think we can do something a little smarter about that. Distance of interact raycast. That's mine. Right. So maybe I didn't want to remove all of this. Yeah, I don't need it. Interact. That's fine. End region. Nodes. These are references, so that's this. Okay, why end region? Why does this, so you can't see this. Why does region character export group. Region nodes export group. So why does character get like a full button and not something that I can close? Export group nodes. Export, because it's a category. Right. Region character export group. Export group nodes. Okay. That's fine, that's fine. I understand it now. Export group nodes. I'd like to be able to please close this as well, though. Can I just do export group character? Yeah. Sweet. Okay. Head. A reference to the camera for use in the character script. This is the parent node to the camera and is rotated instead of the camera for mouse support. Yeah, I don't understand what that is. The camera is the head. Yes, I understand that. Reference to the camera for use in the character script. Okay, the camera itself doesn't get rotated. Head bob animation. So animations. Let me just character controller to do is replace animations with tweens. This is something that makes more sense for me. Do I have better notes down here somewhere? Active notes, inventories, player vehicles, arms, character controller to do. Make central dot not an image. That's the other thing. Damn it. I lost you again. You were very close. Character controller to do. Okay. Item interaction body. Think out interaction icon and implementation in interaction context. Maybe still have labels. Play around with the raycast distance. So I've seen multiple ways to do a state machine, some of which involve nodes with their own separate scripts, and there's a part of me that's like, oh, that is easier, that is better, just do that. And there's a part of me that thinks that is harder and don't do that. So I don't even completely understand how the state machine works, and I don't think, honestly, that what I have right now is a proper state machine. But also, from what I understand, the state machine only really works for states that are exclusive by design. And I have overlapping states. So there is still a part of me that needs to kind of chart how the whole character system works. But okay, maybe that's a good thing to put on the list. It's like chart out on a canvas how the entire character controller system is supposed to work. Okay, we have jump animation again. That's just like the camera, I think, doing a little look when you jump or when you land, which it does. It does do that, yeah. See, it does that. That's not what makes the jump happen. It is only the thing that that moves the camera a teensy bit while it jumps. That's all that is. Reference to the crouch animation for use of the character script. Is there a crouch animation? Yeah, see, that's the other thing. The crouch is an animation. And I just feel like, look here, now I have these 3 nodes in here, these 3 animation nodes. And I don't have an animation player node. But that just feels like unnecessary to me. I could do that all in tweens. Especially the crouch. Collision mesh makes sense to me. Right. End region. Right, so this is the controls. And I said this can be cleaned up, simplified. Which is true, apparently. You have a dictionary. Move left, move right, move forward, backwards, jump, crouch, run, pause, zoom, use hand, left click, use item, use body. What's the difference between left click and... Left click would be use hand, right? Okay. Controls. Determine controls and what do you call it? What do you call it? Determine controls and properly map out in dictionary. I am so perfectly happy to use a bunch of other people's code, and I think it's probably going to teach me a lot, but it's also going to be very confusing because everyone is going to be using different standards and different ways of doing things. Alright. And then there's controller-specific stuff. That we don't need to worry about right now. And this is just for the camera, right? Use the input map. Map a controller input to an action, add a reference to this dictionary to be used in the script. Alright, that can be ignored for now. Feature settings. Feature settings. These can be... Enable or disable jumping. Useful or restrictive storytelling environments. Okay. Smooth feel of walking. That can stay on, right? Make motion smoothing permanent. Remove toggle. Bob note. Make remove toggle. Enables or disables running. Bob note. Leave for potential attribute effect for now. Enables or disables crouching. That is very useful for also useful for sitting and restrictive environments and stuff. Useful for restrictive environments. Enables the view bobbing animation. View bobbing. The head bob. That's what you mean, right? View bobbing. Yeah. I am wondering. The head bob is decent. I'm happy with it. That's something I might tweak. But is there a situation in which I want to turn head bobbing off? There might be a situation where I want to control this. Situation when I want to control this. Remove some feature toggles. Either make them permanent, always on, or not at all. Or remove feature. So we're talking, I'm gonna list these. Motion smoothing. Always on. Crouch animated run enabled. Do bobbing. Jump animation. Jump animation. Always on. Pausing enabled. Bob note. Probably will probably make a whole pause system myself. So the way I am, this is something I've been learning too, is like which node controls what. And I'm kind of the view right now that the player character controller controls everything that the player can do, or is in charge of everything the player can do, and that includes if I bring up a pause menu, okay, you hit escape, you hit start, whatever. The game pauses, the game stops. That means the player character controller is no longer receiving input. But I think in that moment, I don't see a situation. There's not going to be cutscenes. There's not going to be any kind of situation where something else is controlling the character significantly, or where the character controller is not a part of the scene. If there is, then I have to already think about this differently. So I'm just going to imagine a situation in which the character controller is not part of the main scene. And the only thing I can think of is like the main menu or something. That doesn't matter. But in-game, there is no moment where the player character controller is not a part of the scene. There are brief moments where control is given up. So like if you go to sleep, then obviously like a little animation plays, you have no control, and time passes and whatever. But other than that, the only way like that the player character is restricted in what they can do is just by environmental stuff. So I think I'm fine with player character controller detects escape hit, game pauses, and then a menu appears, and then the menu takes over for a bit, and in that menu you can do whatever, change settings or quit the game, and then if you unpause, then the game is unpaused, the menu disappears, so the menu is no longer controlled. The menu kills itself. If the menu kills itself, then it's no longer in control. and then the character controller is back in control of the game. So I think that makes sense. Yes. Gravity enabled. There's no situation in which there will not be gravity. The only thing I'm thinking of is swimming. So I don't think... Look, initially... Let me just load up the map. Should have had the folder open all along. Which one is it? Ah, fuck it. We'll just have the PNG open for now. So, initially, the only playable area will be this area. And the waters, the whole point is the beaches, the swimmable beaches are largely on this side of the island because the wind is coming from... This is north. North is up. The wind is coming from the northeast. It's a constant trade wind. And the northern coast of the island is very rugged. And the sea, you can kind of see it from the blurry picture here. The sea is very rough. So there are some like inlets where you can kind of swim a little bit, and it's relatively protected. But a lot of this water is largely unswimmable. They're not swimmable beaches. So at the very least, initially, and these beaches are not going to be accessible in the game ever because they'll be too complex to model because these are very dense areas. Like this whole section of the island will never be playable. Except for this road here that leads to this place. And here too, this is where all the hotels are and shit. That'll never be playable. But there is potential in the future, in the far future, for swimming. But the idea I had in my head was that if you try to go into the water, you'll just be pushed out. So that won't require any kind of gravity force that is different. That'll just be a force, maybe. A physical force. Like there'll be an area there where there's a force that is pushing upon you. Okay, so I can write that down in my unsorted notes. Player character getting pushed out of water. Just use like a force zone. Because I'm pretty sure the player character controller is the character controller 3D or whatever can be affected by physics. So this Bob note. Remove toggle, always on. Gravity enabled, always on. And dynamic gravity can be removed. Note, not just in the their declarations, but in their associated logic checks. Hi, Rough Knight. Welcome in. And this can be removed. That's feature settings. Okay. Now we have member variables. These are variables used in this script that don't need to be exposed in the editor. Bar speed, float base speed, right? Current speed is 0. You start at 0. States! Okay, this is... Bob, no, this is what we're going to be working on. This will require a lot of work. Low ceiling, good. No, this is just default state. Just call it that. Default state. For low ceiling, it's false. I get that. Was on floor last frame. For landing animation. Reticle has a control node as the root. Okay, so the reticle is also something. Reticle code. Make reticle not just a bit. Get the gravity from the project settings to be synced with the rigid body nodes. Don't set this as a const. But that's just okay. That's gravity in here. I'm happy with the gravity. Gravity is default. I'm pretty sure 9.8. Yeah. I'm not gonna mess with that. I'm gonna try to keep everything relatively grounded. Normal seat. Stores mouse input for avoiding decaying the camera in the physics process. It's fine. Result of the interact raycast. This is a very, very important variable. And that can be anything, right? Or it can be... It's usually a node, I believe. Type. Seat leaving information. So this is stuff that I've been trying to figure out. Because the way I'm trying to make sitting work is a seat object has a because this will be important too, because like I've been playing Monbazoo, right? And in Monbazoo, when you can sit on chairs and you can well, obviously you can sit in a vehicle. And the transition is always instant. There's no animation. And I find that a tiny little bit immersion breaking in a way that I don't want to have. I think if you're going to sit, then there should be a little animation that puts you on the seat and has you looking at like a default location, which is this this node. Whatever it's called, a marker. They're markers. So the way I figured it is, wherever you're standing near the seat, if you can interact with the seat proper, your character will your character's controller's collider will disable. The character controller will move to a marker that makes it look like you're sitting on the chair. And it'll make you look at a specific marker also. So you just kind of, wherever you are, you just kind of go whoop. And then if you get up, then the character controller moves you to a specific location that's like, you know, in front of the seat. That might have to be... Might that have to be dynamic? I think other than... Seat thoughts. Sitting thoughts. If I have dynamic seats, so movable seats, and this counts for car seats as well. I need to have a more dynamic way to place what is it called? The leave marker. I need to have a more dynamic way to place the leave marker. In case leave marker is not on solid ground. So say you collidable inside a collidable place. Although for car seats, potentially I can just block. I don't know. I'm thinking about. I have to think about all these minutia of possibilities. So, say you're driving in your little car, and you park against a wall. Now, you park against a wall. You can't open the door, and you can't leave the seat. That's fine. So that's already sorted through. You could potentially, I could have it so that you can move to the passenger seat if the vehicle has a passenger seat, and leave there, right? What about vehicles with one seat? Have two leave markers. How do you decide where you step off? So if you're sitting on an ATV and you want to leave, you want to get up. You're sitting on an ATV and you want to get up. Also, how do you, control-wise, how do you get up? On normal seat, just press a movement button. But that's not... But in vehicle seat, would be different? Don't like different, but might be necessary. Might be necessary to do different. It might be necessary to have a distinction between between a regular chair that you sit on and a car seat. And the way you get into a car, you have a different button to leave the car seat, which you can only do if the car door is open. In Mon Bazou, I don't like at all. In Mon Bazou, you in Mon Bazou, you have to click on the seat or on the chair. This is very annoying when you want to get off because you have to look down. And not annoying, it's immersion breaking. Oh no. In my summer car, you can't really sit on chairs, but you kind of can. It does something interesting where if you kind of move to a chair, it just kind of shortens your... I think it just shortens your... it shrinks your collider. So that you're kind of smaller when you're on top of the chair, and when you get out, it expands it again. And it does that inside the car too. And then inside the car, you have to like activate sitting mode. And then you don't move anymore. And then one benefit of that is you can kind of choose where you sit on the seat. What benefit? It's not super realistic, but it does help making it feel like you're in a body more. I want the character to be able to sit, and I want the game to know when the character is sitting, because sitting can help reduce fatigue. And being seated is potentially one of the only places where you can use the cell phone to save. So when I get to it, this is just a little bit of a detour anyway, but when I get to it, because potentially, like, if the chairs don't move, then it's not a problem. Then I can always determine where a person gets up. I can do that on my own. It's fine. I have full control over that, so they won't get up. But if I have, say, a system where you can grab a folding chair and put it on the roof of a building, then I'll have to have a way to test whether or not the leave marker, like the character, will actually land on collidable ground. And if not, I'll have to have a potential dynamic way of determining where the character... So I'd have to, like, scan a circle around the seat to place a leave marker somewhere where it would collide with the ground. Or wouldn't collide with a wall. You know, if you put a seat against a wall, then... so if you place a seat in front of a wall, with the seat facing the wall, you'll be able to sit on it, but I don't want you to be able to then get up and clip through the wall. And I don't it doesn't have to be perfect. I just if I'm gonna do that, then you know, I don't want characters getting up and clipping into walls or falling off of cliff, basically. All right, so that's a little detour about that. I'm gonna take a little detour to the toilet, and I'll be right back. Imagine being live on the internet. Well, it's a little warm, so I'm gonna tie up the main. How long we've been going? An hour? Good enough. Alright. Yeah, what is the type of the interact cast result? It needs to be at least like a node or something. I need to have that. I need to figure that out. But I'm not going to deal too much with the interaction stuff today. I'm trying to more figure out the states. All right, we'll leave this for now. Now we have main control flow. Function ready. Global.player is self. It is safe to comment this line if your game doesn't start with the mouse captured. Okay. If the controller is rotated in a certain direction for game design purposes, the redirector's rotation into the head. Oh, so this could be good for sleeping or whatever? Rotation Y. What is Y? Okay, this is how you know I'm a big ol' amateur. Y is green. So I don't know. What will be the other rotations? If default reticle, change reticle to default reticle. If default reticle, change reticle to default reticles. If default reticle is true, like change reticle, like I am going to do a whole other thing. Bob note. I am going to do a whole other thing with the reticle and icons and interaction context. So this will probably go to initialize animations. Bob note. Not necessary. If I remove animations, check controls, enter normal state. If OS get name web. Yeah, this is for Bob note. This is for I can remove this. This is completely unnecessary for me. That's for if I do an HTML export, which I'm not gonna do. Okay, so in process, we don't have much going on. That's fine. Physics process, most things happen here. We have gravity. If dynamic gravity... Gravity is... If... Wait. If dynamic gravity is true, gravity is project settings get settings. So dynamic gravity if it's not on floor and gravity enabled, velocity is gravity times delta. But gravity is already... Where is gravity set? already set in member variable. Yeah, so we already have that. So I can remove dynamic gravity. Yeah, and I can remove this dynamic gravity. We can remove it from our to-do list. Fuck off. Let me just move this window up here so it'll never show up. Bow, 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 bow. Okay. Gravity is always going to be enabled. So if it's not on floor and we have gravity... so... Get fucked. See, gravity is enabled. We have, like... For some reason, we have, like, a... running is way too fast. For a game that I want, like, to be slow and methodical. So gravity is fine. Oh god, can I climb back? I don't know if I can climb back. That's fine. Okay, so that's settled. Handle jumping. Handle jumping. So, like, handle pausing. Ready doesn't have handles. Enter normal state. Initialize animations. Okay. Handle jumping. Input direction is vector to 0. That's fine. That means by default, right? By default, when a physics frame starts, input direction is set to 0. This is good. I think input direction specifically is for analog sticks also, because that will be a vector 2. Okay. If not immobile, then you get the vector, right? Right. That's good. That's good. I get that. I'm gonna have to spend a lot of time in this. This sucks about... Like, I have this when I stream a game, and then I don't stream it for a while, and then I come back to it. It takes so much time to get back into it. And I've been super busy this week with a bunch of projects. Yesterday, I filmed the bulk of the footage for the new video. I'm doing some administrative stuff, too, that takes a lot of time. It has been still quite hot this entire week. Not quite like the last heat wave, but still it's very draining. So what I would like to be able to do is spend 2 days a week on this. 2 days a week on this. That's the proper sentence. If not immobile, immobility works by interrupting user input. And handle movement takes in delta in the input direction. Handle head rotation. The player is not able to stand up if the ceiling is too low. Low ceiling is crouch ceiling detection is colliding. So that's this. That's a shape cast. Right? If it is colliding, then low ceiling is true. Handle state input direction. Handle state. Update camera FOV, that's fine. Interact cast, that's one of mine. One of mine. If you bobbing, play head bob animation. I think replace crouch animation with tween. I think when I think about it, for the kind of animation that, like, because they're like, it's like this, right? For the head bobbing, it's like this. There's like a little bit of a figure 8 thing going on, and for the jump land animation is what it really is. For the land animation, there's like a little. The crouch animation is the only one really where I'm bothered by the fact that it's an animation. I think it doesn't make sense to me. I know Godot has this ability. Godot can do this, and it's cool. It doesn't make sense to me that this would be an animation. Like, logically, it's a linear movement. It's better if it's a tween. And the jump animation has a little bit more going on too during the jump. Because I wanted to call it land animation, but it actually has stuff going on during the jump, where it does a little bit of a woo and then boom while the motion is happening. So these can stay. Head bop animation, the jump animation. Interact cast. Update debug menu for tick, that's fine. Was on floor. Is on floor. Okay. Input handling. Handle jumping. If jumping is enabled, if input is action just punch jump and is on floor and it's not low ceiling, play the jump animation and up the velocity Y. If jump animation is true, export for jump animation. Right, I always want the jump animation to work, so I can get rid of that. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Hold on. Pop note. Leaving this in for now in case I want to mess with view. If I want player to mess with view bob settings. There's this thing, right? Okay, view bob is working. There's this thing. There's this balance between accessibility and artistic intent. And I feel like, for the most part, a game like My Summer Car is very much on the side of artistic intent. Very much like, this is the way it's going to be whether you like it or not. And is view bobbing something that I potentially want the player to mess with? In case they're bothered by it? Or is it something where I say, listen, one, I have limited resources. I just did not have the ability, the time, the money, the wherewithal to have every single variable accessible to the player. I think for, especially for like big AAA games and stuff, the wider and bigger your audience is, the more resources you have, perfectly cool to do that, you know, and to have all that stuff accessible. But will I, you know, I don't know if view bobbing is something that is a big enough thing where I think, oh, certain people would be bothered by this. I should. You know, I should let the player mess with this setting. I don't know yet, but I'm leaving it in just in case. Okay, so we have handle jumping. Jumping is being handled, and jumping still works as it's supposed to. It is. I can't jump if I'm crouched. Wait, can I jump if I'm crouched? No, I can't jump if I'm crouched. There's games that'll let you jump if crouched. This is not that kind of game. Look, there's a weird thing happening. I'm crouching while jumping. And it's not right. Crouching in the air. I had a sit button. What's the sit button? Is crouching in the air something? I don't know. Is crouching in the air something I want you to be able to do? I don't know. Handle movement, delta input direction. Direction is input direction with the head rotated. What was that in ready? If the controller is rotated in a certain direction for game design purposes, redirect this rotation into the head. I don't know what that means. I don't know what this means. I'm just going to write down, I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. Okay. We've done physics process, right? We've done physics process. Handle jumping. If jumping is enabled, if... jumping enabled is something I'm leaving in because it's something I can fuck with. Handle movement. Far direction is input direction. Rotated. Direction is a vector 3. Move and slide is built in. If is on floor. If motion smoothing. What does it feel like without motion smoothing? I mean, I'm not feeling much of a difference, to be honest. It starts a little slower. That's a setting you can mess with, but I like... You get acceleration matters. No. No, we're getting rid of that motion smoothing. Motion smooth. Smoothing. Yep. Perfectly fine by me. Okay, that's movement. Pretty simple. Handle head rotation. This is like rotation in 3D. It's wonderful for me when that is abstracted as much as possible. Yeah. Handle head rotation. If invert camera XSS. Yeah, that's inversion. If controller support, that's fine. I don't need to worry about that. Mouse input is vector to 0. That zeroes everything. And then there's the clamp. For the head rotation X, don't remember how I limited how low you can look. You can look up. You can look up 90 degrees. You can look up 90 degrees, but you can't look down 90 degrees. I don't remember how I... Well, that's in there somewhere, right? Function check controls. If you add a control, you might want to add a check first. Here. The actions are being disabled, so the engine doesn't halt the entire project. Bob note. I can remove this. I don't care about this. Check controls. Check. Yeah, give me. Handle head rotation is done. Input event. So this is basic input. These are for the extra. This is for extra controls. Okay, now we get the state handling. And this is... I'm not gonna start messing with this right away. But like, if run enabled, if crouch enabled, which states do we have? We have normal state, we have crouch state, and we have run state. If input is action pressed, run, and state is not crouching, if I'm moving and the state is not running, enter run state. What is moving? Handle state moving. Where is handle state? Where do we see handle state more often? Handle state. Handle state gives us input. It takes input direction. So handle state. If input, if there is, okay. That is basically a Boolean then, right? function handle state moving. So if I am moving, so if run is enabled, which is something that I still have. Yeah. And if I'm not crouched and the control being used is run, and if I'm moving, and if I'm not running, enter run state. If I am running, enter normal state. God, I'm so confused. Okay. If I can run, and I'm holding the run button and I'm not crouching, and if I'm moving, aka input is being detected, moving input is being detected, and I'm not currently running, then let me run. That makes sense to me. Okay? This means if I can run, and I'm holding the running button and I'm not crouching, and I'm in the running state, don't run? I feel like this is something I may have messed around with. But this doesn't make sense, does it? Like, okay. If run is enabled and I'm running, and this isn't true, so basically I'm not holding the run button, then enter normal state. But what is this for? Yeah. This is entirely unnecessary. If run is enabled, which it almost always is. What if I disable run? Yeah, then run is disabled. If run enabled is true. So handle state is only true for moving. And moving is only true if I am using input direction. So if I'm using WASD. Bob note handles only when input there is true. If crouch is enabled, let's see if that actually works. It works. If crouch is enabled, if you're not running and you're not already crouching, you can crouch and you can't jump. If you are already crouching and you're not under a short object thing, normal state. Right, normal in the air. Running in the air. Crouching. You can walk while crouch, but you can't run while crouching. If you're running, you can't crouch. Sorry. There's no sliding here. If you're walking, you can crouch. If you jump against an object, you'll just get pushed. That's fine. But if you're crouched, you can't jump, and you can't get up until the collider stops moving. Okay, so that's all good. My question is just, I'm gonna have to chart this out. My question is just, I'll need some other kind of state machine for all the other shit I have to do. And it's gonna get complicated. Because I want to do complicated things. Any enter state function should only be called once when you want to enter that state, not every frame. Okay, enter normal state. Previous state is state. If previous state is crouching, you play the crouch animation backwards. Your state is now normal. Your speed is now this. Okay. Enter crouch state. Your state is now crouching, your speed is now crouch speed, and your crouch animation plays when you enter crouch state. Yes. Run state. You need to care which state was the previous. Do I need to care? Previous state is state. If previous state is crouching, play backwards. I only need it for that. State is running, speed is run speed. Okay. Animation handling. You want to change the default head height, change these animations. Right. Crouch animation. It's here. Okay, hold on. Crouch animation stuff. This is good and done. Line 289. Funk initialize animations. Oh no, I don't need you. I don't need VS Codium. Funk initialize animations. Initialize. Play head bob animation. That's fine. Wait, these can all be closed. Funk initialize animations. It's fine. Play head bob animation. Yeah, we'll just leave this as it is. Head bob animation play. Head bob animation speed skill. If was playing head bob animation, blah, blah, blah. Let me explain the piece of code because it looks like it does the opposite of what it actually does. The head bob animation has two starting positions. One is at 0 and the other is at 1. Rand I modulo 2 returns either 0 or 1. And so the animation randomly starts at 1 of the starting positions. Yeah. This code is extremely performant, but it makes no sense. That's fine. I don't need detail. Else reset the speed. Okay, so head bob animation is fine. I don't need to touch that. Play jump animation. If was on floor and is on floor, the player just landed. Facing direction. Compares velocity direction against the camera direction. Without part determine which landing animation to play. There's a side landing animation. I don't care about that. But, you know. I'm just gonna leave that in. Okay. Debug menu is fine, not gonna touch that right now. Debug menu stuff, not gonna touch that now. Unhandled input. Else if event is input event key, if event is released. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Change reticle. Yep. Okay. You can only zoom when not running. Sorry. Yeah, you can't zoom in the air. Okay. Expose the FOV values. I can set them. Update camera FOV. Oops. Update camera FOV. Expose the FOV variables somewhere so I can mess with them. Should I do that now? Yeah. We have a running FOV, we have a normal FOV, and we have a camera FOV. At export, our normal FOV is a float of, was it 80? 80, 85, 35. 80. At export, our running FOV float of 85, and at export our zoom FOV float of 35. Close. Reticle. Oh, Bob note. I'm gonna make this my own someday. Okay. This is a running FOV. This is normal FOV, and this is zoom FOV. Should all be fine. Yep. now I can just like bump this up to 90. Hell, actually, now that I think about it, I should only have a normal FOV. And the other FOVs should be like more dynamic, right? Above notes, actually, because eventually, like I was talking earlier about which settings I would expose to the user to be able to change, but FOV is definitely one of those. Because people play, you know, that's definitely something that's easily changeable that people might like. So the running FOV and the zoom FOV need to be dynamically determined based off of the base FOV, so that's just something I can do automatically. So the running FOV should be normal FOV plus 10. You know. And the zoom FOV should be normal FOV divided by 2. For instance. You know, not sure if 2 is enough, but good for now. I think the zoom FOV might be a little more complicated, but we got it mostly figured out. 382. That could be divided by 2.1. I don't know what. I don't know. I don't remember how math works. 2.5. Question. Question. Should you be able to enter run state if zoom is being pressed? This is another interesting conundrum, okay? So it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good if I'm holding zoom. Like, if I'm holding zoom and I'm walking, it's fine. If I'm holding zoom and I run, I leave the zoomed state. Right? I leave the zoomed state. That feels wrong. So I feel like if not zoomed state. See, that's the thing. Zoom is not a state. It's a button and you zoom. That's it. And when you're running, you can't zoom. That's all that is. When you're crouching, you can zoom. When you're walking, you can zoom. When you're standing, you can zoom. When you're jumping, you can't zoom. So here I have... Oh god, hold on. Sorry, I just got a little slime. Here I say, if I'm holding zoom, and I'm not running, and I'm on the floor, zoom FOV. Right? But what if I can zoom while running. Is that bad? Yeah, because it feels slower anyway. I'll just leave it like that. That's fine. You can, you know... I don't feel like you should be able to, because to me, zoom means you are looking closely at something. You know, you're kind of going like this. It is a compensation for a kind of lack of bodily awareness that you have in games, because you don't have all these other sensations. So a zoom is a way for you to focus on something and be able to kind of like better control your reticle or read stuff, right? But yeah, you shouldn't be able to do that while running, because running is exertion. It's sprinting specifically. It's you're focused on only that. That's why you can't crouch while running either. But you know, it's a compromise. I'm just gonna write it down as a compromise. Being able to run while zooming is a compromise. Hey, Disty. Get used to it. Get used to it. If on a good week, you get 2 a week. Being able to run while zooming is a compromise. I'd rather not, but the solution is a little complicated. I'm gonna go for a quick pee break. Be right back. All right. So to catch up, I am basically going through my character controller and trying to kind of understand it again because it's gotten quite large. And I need to add a bunch more complicated stuff to it. So that requires work. Do you know that requires work? All right, so we got the camera FOV stuff. That's fine now. Handle pausing. I don't have... You may want another node to handle pausing because this player may get paused too. Yes, I will. So this'll Bob note once I've figured out how this can go. Interact cast. So this is this is shit I got from a tutorial. Basically, I am casting a ray from the camera to in front of me, and it does two things. First, it gives me information about what it is. This is a button. This is a thing. This is a normal seat. This is a door. This is interactable, and whoa! It knows how to have a good time. And then when I click, it does something. Right? I get the screen center, I get the space state, get the origin, query. Result spaces intersect query. Current cast result is okay. If current cast result is interact cast result, is not interact cast result. Unfocused. Right. So all this does nothing. All this does is press play on Winamp. Basically, this is like a hover. I know I'm fighter. I should get back in the game. What if I feel dumb and get executed for being dumb? I don't know what to tell you about the executed part. You might already get executed for all kinds of other shit. So you might as well go for it. That's my advice. If interact cast result and interact cast result is a seat component, I can get information about the seat. Okay, so all this does, the interact cast function, all this does is it emits a couple of signals. Specifically for when I focus or unfocus on something. So if I'm intersecting with that item's collision box, then it says, oh, focused. Focus means 1, I can interact with this, and 2, I'm putting this text label on of what this item is. And right now the ray is... Do I have the size of the ray, or is that in here? That's interact distance is 1. Do I have that here? It should be here, shouldn't it? Screen center. Oh, plus times interact distance. Okay. So if I made the interact distance 10, then obviously I'd be 10 meters. No? This is not 10 meters. Origin plus camera project array, normal screen center. Times interact distance. They didn't save? Yeah. Okay, so now the interact distance is supposed to be 10 meters? Yeah, does that make sense? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. Yeah. Which is a little too far. But it's something that I want to mess with a little bit because I had it right now set at 1. And I'm like, what is the length of a human arm? Hold on, I'll be right back. What is the length of a human arm? From the shoulder, from like the torso. It's okay. So my span is what? 69 centimeters. That's not a lot. In game, it'll feel like too little. I think if I made this 0.69, and you can see here I am entering all this data in here. If I put it at 0.69, I have to be really close. Maybe that works. Problem is, there might be stuff on the ground that you wouldn't be able to pick up or touch. How far? Let me copy this light. Let me try something. I have this light. All right. Let me just duplicate it. But maybe that makes sense, right? Maybe that makes sense. If I'm standing, I can't touch the ground. My arms don't reach to the ground. I'm not an orangutan. Orangutan? Orang-utang. Let's just plop this down here, near the test interaction box. Yeah, but if I crouch, I still can't use it. I think 69 is too low. I need to be able to crouch and use it. This is a good... I'm very smart that I was able to figure this out. Character. Sorry. The default. The default is 1. Oh, that's still too short. With my crouch... I think I'm happy with my crouch distance. Interact distance 1.3. Okay, 1.3 works. 1.2 work? Creation. 1.2 will work. Hi, Ironic Moronic. Okay. See, I like when people ask this because it helps me develop my elevator pitch in a very complicated. It's a very complicated thing that I'm trying to make. Okay, so I am from the island of Aruba, right? And what I want to do is make a shrunken down, yet still somewhat realistically scaled version of some areas of Aruba virtually, and build inside that world a life/job sim set in a period of time when I lived there and I was younger, to live vicariously through. But basically, you know, if you're familiar with games like My Summer Car or Mon Bazou, those kinds of like life/job type games where you're like, you have a little house, you have to take care of some meters like hunger and thirst and energy, you know, those kinds of daily rhythm type things, but you also need to make money and that kind of stuff. Hi, Coder Wolf. Am I going to use realistic images? I am going to use realistic images and assets from my own pictures and videos. I have quite a database already from times I've gone on vacation. This map that I've made here is using data from Google Earth that I'm using to kind of like proportionalize everything, because everything here is shrunken down by about a third of the real scale. The island is 30 kilometers long. Mine will be about 10 kilometers long, although this area here that I've drawn out is 1-to-1. So what I want to do is, like, you know, exaggerate certain elements and have them be a little bit more 1-to-1, and have other elements shrunken down. Like, certain distances are collapsed, and yet the general shape remains, and certain 1-to-1 areas will be 1-to-1. I am going back to the island this December for my birthday, and I will be specifically going also to do research, you know. But let me get some pictures here. When did we go? Did we go to the natural bridge? Like, you know, I have vacation pictures. I have vacation pictures that... Oh, come on. Come on. I have vacation pictures. Although none of these were made specifically with the goal of... using for textures or anything like that. That is one thing that I will be going, but you know, like this is the kind of environment that I intend to recreate in some capacity. I don't know if it's going to look realistic or a high detail. Or like PlayStation graphics, or more stylized. You know, those are things that I'll get to when I get to. There's so much to this. These are my mom's dogs, Luna and Pepper. But you know, some of these rocks, I want to create that kind of vibe. The north coast of the island is very rugged. That's where the game will start. It's very rugged. Here you'll see. Very rugged, very rough. This is the area that'll be like the starting section of the game. This entire road I want to recreate 1-to-1. So, and the focus will be like here, you can see there's like some houses and stuff. So I'm going to recreate some of this settlement. That won't be 1-to-1. I'll create an area with houses and like a supermarket and a gas station, that kind of stuff. And you'll live here. And then you'll have to make this drive every morning whenever you want to work to here. And this is one of the island's like big tourist attractions, national monument. It's a collapsed natural bridge. Can I do pictures in Google Earth? Photos. So, oh, hold on. Are these mine? No. This is what it looks like now. It's collapsed. It collapsed pretty spectacularly in 2005. Well, not spectacularly, quite quietly, actually. And so what I want to do is, like, there's a little like snack bar tourist souvenir shop here, right? So the idea is your uncle or whoever owns that souvenir shop, and you work there, and you go and you run it day to day. You know, you stock it up, you handle tourists who comes. You know, there's buses that come here and whatever. But the game is set in 2005, before it collapsed, and then it looked. Well, you can't see in this picture because there's clouds, and you can't see this one's collapsed. Hold on. You know, it was still solid. It still existed as a bridge, and so there will be there will be stuff to long-term work up to where you can, like, improve your car. The car will be a Suzuki Samurai that got handed down to you. That's a piece of crap, and it won't have, like, detailed car building like Monbazu and My Summer Car, but there will be a relationship to this car. You know, there's stuff you can buy or whatever, stuff in your house, other activities you can engage in. Everything will cost money. But there will be another component of it, which is Aruba as an island that is very tourist-based. I wanted to remove the photos, actually. Thank you. It's a tourist-based economy. I want there to be a tension between making money off of the tourists and potential ecological damage. Now, the reason why the bridge collapsed is just actually time. It was doomed to collapse at some point, right? The ocean shaped it, and the ocean took it away. But what if in the game there is this element of danger of, like, hey, if you let too many tourists here walk around it, do stuff to it, it'll break, and you'll lose your source of income, and that'll be maybe not a game over, but that'll kind of severely impact how much money you can make and how much you can explore the island. And I want to add other elements of the island too, like there's this big central hill that you can climb. This is a hill that's, like, right in the middle of the island, and it has this staircase up it that you can climb. It's like 600 steps, quite steep, and you can get views of the entire island. There are specific elements of the island that don't exist anymore that I want to recreate. Like here, this is a big supermarket, but back when I lived there, it was a mini golf course, and I want to recreate that mini golf course in as much detail as I possibly can. So that's the kind of stuff that I'm trying to work. But, like, to get there first, you know, to create the universe, or to create an apple pie from scratch, first you need to create the universe, aka, how am I actually walking, and can I have interactable light switches, and do I know what I'm doing with all this code that I took from other people and I'm trying to integrate into this big thing. But there's a whole lot of work ahead of me, and currently my July goals are to solidify this map in more detail, just in general to get the scale going, because as I start sculpting the world, even though this area will be the first really accessible area for the minimum viable product version of the game, I need to already have an understanding of if I'm able to get to the point where I can build out more of the island, what will that look like? How will that be shaped? So I need a general blob of the island with locations where I can place landmarks and activities before I can sculpt in detail the main area that you will start in, that I can then expand out from outside of that, you know. So those are my two kind of, like, big goals for July right now, is creating the map and figuring out my character controller, because I have a lot of interesting ideas for what I want to do with the character controller, what I want to do with my inventory system, how I want the game to feel, you know, how I want to have vehicle interactions, all these kinds of interactions that I want to do. Will you be able to pick up objects and will they have physics? You know, how will interactables work? How will those controls work? I kind of want to start from scratch there and build something that I think fits my vision. Isn't it something like Unity or Unreal Engine can be better of it over Godot? Because it's 3D. Everything I need to do, I can do in Godot. And in Godot, I have full control. In Unity and Unreal, I don't. I'm beholden to these big corporations that are renowned for making huge mistakes or making decisions that are not in the interest of the people working on them. Godot is perfectly fine through 3D. Case in point, ironic moronic. I'm using a terrain sculpting thing, a terrain plugin that does all that kind of chopping up for me. I will have to figure out some deals with like traffic and how NPCs work and all that stuff, but that's far off stuff. But everything I want to do, I can do in Godot and make it look good. I'm limited far more by my own lack of skills than by any software at this point. I'm not too worried about that. Interact cast. Okay, so we've kind of figured that out. Use hand. If item in hand, drop item else. Yeah, no, I'm still use hand. If item in hand, drop item else. If item, pick up item. If environment interactable, interact. I actually had my original idea was I was like limiting myself a little, was to have these areas, these smaller areas, zones, and then to travel between areas, you would kind of zoom out and have like a world map. And then I decided this is probably the only game I'll ever get to make in my life before the world ends. I'm gonna go big and make it one big open world, but it's gonna be very limited. You know, it's not going to be like a GTA level detail where every street is accessible or whatever. It'll be, you know, you'll have certain areas that are high detail and then roads to other areas that are high detail. And on those roads, there isn't a whole lot to do but drive. I need to completely figure out how I'm going to do. Bob Note need to completely figure out and redo using interaction. Get creative with how you block the player's view from unloading things too. Yeah. Well, what's nice is I'll have plenty of like object culling options, and at least for this starting zone, do I have Google Maps still? Yeah. Okay. So for the starting area, right? That's this. This is all hills. So if you're on this road, there's just ocean on this side and hills on this side. I would like eventually for you to be able to climb those hills and do a little bit of a hike, maybe find fun items or something like that. As you can see, there's like little trails and stuff that cover the hills. But like, you know, if you're down here, you can't see shit. That's all good. Just that when you get here, my bigger question that I haven't really solved yet is how do I block a player? Like, I'm gonna have roads that are inaccessible. That are inaccessible to the player, but not necessarily NPC traffic. How do I block a player from entering that road, or how do I tell them that they can't go down that road without having like a big transparent holographic, you know, red sign or something like that, that I feel like I want this to be very immersive. I have these ideas for like for music, you have an MP3 player. I have one. I bought one. I bought a period correct MP3 player. Hold on, I need to get it out of its case. This is a Creative Zen Micro. Forgot what it was called. I'm basically gonna make this in-game interface and all. Maybe change the buttons around a bit. and that'll be like your music player. And you'll have a telephone that'll be based on my old phone from back then, the Nokia 3200. You know, if you need to pay for something, you need to take out your wallet. There's going to be, I want there to be a lot of tactility and interactability. But like Breath of the Wild temperature, you can't go over the big hill unless you have a thick jacket or through the hot desert. See, that's the thing, is because I'm recreating a real place, I can't necessarily do things like that. I can figure something out, you know, but like Breath of the Wild does that really interestingly, because it's like, hey, if you want to go here, you need to have this ability or this thing unlocked. And so it's an adventure, right? It's an action adventure. My game is not. It's a game, but it is a life sim. And it needs to feel like if you see people role playing GTA, you know, they have to follow the traffic laws. Well, in my game too, if you speed, you might get a ticket. So I need to do things that disincentivize you from playing in a way that doesn't fit in that world. Lots of little things I can do. But how to block people down certain roads without making it too gamey? I don't know yet. Okay. Use body. Use body, use item, use hand. How common are street stalls in Aruba? You mean like, by street stall? By street stall, you mean what? I say as I Google street stall. Like a market? Not hugely. You know what's common? Is little lottery shops. And like I have a list this long of things I want to add. I was like, a mechanic to buy scratch tickets? That would feel real. You know? Okay, so we have sitting. We have sitting car. We have stand up. We have go to sleep, we have wake up. Okay, so I think I've gone through most of the with street vendors across the road. Yeah, I was thinking more like traffic barriers of some sort. Because, like, okay, a good example is... Okay, so if the this is where the mini golf course is, right? And this road is kind of a big road for Aruba. This road is like one of the main arteries. If I go to like map mode, sorry, can I go to map mode and show roads? Right, this is one of the main roads, and it goes all the way from this tip to that tip, right? But I don't want to model this whole city area. I don't want this to be explorable for the most part. Even here, it's very busy because there's the airport here, and there's like a bunch of hotels. This is all way beyond my ability to model. I once made this in as a Half-Life mod for an art school project. It's just too much, I think. Maybe if I get a fuck ton of budget. So this whole road would be inaccessible, right? But because I want you to be able to visit this place, maybe this part of the road is accessible if you come from here, or this part of the road, you know. And then there's a road, like I have it a little bit in my map. There's a road that comes here. So this part of the road, not accessible. But this part of the road, yes. So you've got a big roundabout here. I don't know if that was a roundabout. Oh, this one was. I don't think this was a roundabout back in 05. They've gone roundabout crazy. No, it wasn't. Much more complex intersection. So if you can come from here, well, maybe this road isn't accessible at all. Maybe you just come in here. So how do I tell the player, like, oh yeah, you can come down here, but then you have to go left? I don't know. You can come here, but you can only go left here. Then you have to go on here. You actually can't go down this road. You need to go down this road to get to the entrance. Because this is kind of a highway-like thing. Do I just put a big red, you know, like a racing game, just put a big red barrier? A big translucent red barrier? Big no entry signs? That's not right. Like, that's why before I had like a mini map, right? I had like a mini world map. Then you just drive here, zoomed out, and then when you get here, it just zooms in to like first-person view again. But that's too immersion breaking. So I don't know how I'm doing that yet, but it needs to be done somehow. It's something I'll need to figure out. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That's something I'll figure out when I figure out roads. But that's one of the big questions I have. Not something I need to concern myself with now, but it's one of the big questions I have. You can go. Okay, but let's sketch this out real quick. Character controller. New canvas. How do I do new canvas? Call this character controller. Canvas. We have idle state, all right? Normal. Okay. Please. Let's just call it idle/normal state. We have create group movement. If idle normal, and where are you? Normal state, crouch state, run state. But you also have, you can be in multiple states at once because you have crouching in the air. What is jump state? There is no jump state. There is no jump state. Jumping is just something that happens. There's a normal state, and there's a run state, and there's a crouch state. Run state. And a crouch state. Yeah. So you can go from normal to crouch. You can go from normal to run. You can also go from run to normal. You can go from crouch to normal. You can't go from run to crouch or crouch to run. Pretty sure. If you're running, you can't crouch. If you're crouching, you can't run. But there's a moving state. That's the other thing. So normal state is not idle. No. Normal state is moving normally. There is no idle state. Normal state is either standing or walking around. And then running is obviously running. So normal state does what? Let's get granular with this shit. Speed is base speed. Speed is base speed. Yeah. And then here for running state, speed is no, but the states are running, normal, crouching. Where are the states? This is controls. I had the states here somewhere. Where are the states? Handle state moving. Running, crouching, normal. Running, crouching, normal. I don't want to let myself be limited by like all this state machine shit. I don't care about any kind of programming paradigm or best practices or any kind of system. I just need it to make sense for me. Right? Unhandled input, then. No, I don't care about that. Should you be able to open a door while crouching? Yes. Should you be able to open a door while running? Yes. Can you already? Yeah. See, this I don't like. But then here I'm like, am I going too far in detail? Is this something I can fix much later on? Is the FOV of running should be tied to my velocity if I'm in the running state. I should just at least note that down somewhere. FOV. Bob, the FOV of running should be tied to my velocity if I'm in the running state, because there's going to be moments I haven't figured this shit out yet, and this is what I want to figure out too for the first prototype. Is I'm going to be able to enter vehicles, right? If you enter a vehicle, you lose most movement controls. You lose all movement controls. And your movement controls gets transferred to the vehicle. So the vehicle, if it's in gear and the engine is on and all that shit, goes forward and backwards and you steer it. So if I just tie the FOV of the character to its velocity, then if you're falling or if you're in a car, I don't want the FOV necessarily to shift. Maybe I do. But that's something to figure out then. So this can still have a lot of changes to it. Let's just go back to unsorted notes. FOV while in vehicle affected by velocity. That's one of my big criticisms of Mon Bazou is the camera is completely static in a vehicle, so whatever movement the vehicle makes, the camera makes, and it's not realistic. And I've been thinking about this, and I should probably look at it a little more in detail. But I think a lot of games, what they do is the kind of side to side movement gets kind of dampened if you're in a vehicle. So that your head is kind of like a pigeon's head a little bit, so that the car moves, but your head doesn't move as much. But I think the up and down, whatever. I'll figure this shit out. A lot of this stuff, it's gonna go a little better the more I live in this code and the more I understand what's going on in Godot and the more this stuff kind of makes sense to me. And then I'll spend less time talking and more time doing. But for now, this makes me realize we just really only have these states. So this normal state is like whatever. Then we have the run state. Okay, that's also like whatever. And we have the crouch state. So, do we need more than this? I don't know if we need more than this. All right. This is movement. Looking around, you can do at any point. There might be moments where I take camera control away from you. A little bit when you yes, there are moments where camera control will be disabled just for a second. If you sit, then the camera will be taken over just for a second. And if you go to sleep or something like that. Yes, that makes sense. But our interaction... Shit. I still don't get. Interaction. I need to solidify this. Okay. There is... there is hand interact. Hand interact is click. Right? Or something. Main interact. There's hand interact. Oh god. And there is body interact. I need calmer music, please. There's body interact. You have hand interact, you have body interact. Walk. Run. Jump. Movement states. Create group. Camera. Now interaction. Oh god, interaction / abilities. Hand interact, body interact, and inventory. So interaction, okay, let's define what interaction is. Interaction is interacting with the world. Right? It's picking up an item, it's pushing a button, it is using a door, it is picking up an item. Hi, Fluff. It is picking up an item and using it on something. So, for instance, stocking shelves, putting money in the cash register. I was thinking about throwing trash out, right? Physics. Is will throwing trash out? Will that amount to picking up a trash bag or like an empty bottle and then moving it and then hovering it over a trash can and then letting go? And hand interact and body interact have separate like things, right? Like Body interact is sitting, mostly sitting and sleeping. Sitting, sleeping. So engaging with furniture. Thank you, Disty. Appreciate it. Sleeping, engaging with furniture. I'm currently not thinking. I currently do not know what else would be considered. What else would be considered body interact? But I want it to be different from hand interact. There has to be a different physical process for the player compared to picking up an item, using an item. But my question is this. If I pick up a flashlight, I click on the flashlight. It's like lying on a shelf. I pick it up. I click on it. I hover my reticle over it. I pick it up. It goes in my hand. Now when it's in my hand, there are 3 things I can do with this. One is to drop it. Right? Let it go. The other is to use it. So there has to be a use key that is different from the hand interact key. And the third is to put it in my inventory. If there is room. Okay? So let's just write that down. Add card. Pick up item. I don't know if throwing is something that I'll have necessarily. Add card, pick up item, use item, if usable. Examination will also not be in the game. Licking remains to be seen. Okay, use item. No, what's the difference between what would you call a light switch? I need a term that separates stuff that is pick-upable from stuff that is only interactable. So like a button, a door, a static item, fixture, use fixture. I don't mind that. Yeah, use fixture, like switch, door, etc. Okay. Pick up item, and then on picked up item. Actually, this should be first. This fixture should be first. Ugh. I'm learning so much new software. I'm gonna. I suppose you'll hear more about this as time goes on. I'm gonna have to learn how to use accounting software. Use fixture. God, stop. No. No. Pick up item. Those are the 2 things. If I click on a fixture, something happens, right? Light switch, door, whatever. Item is something I can an item is something. Okay, definitions. Definitions. Let's bold this shit. Fixture is environmental interactive thing. Right. Fixture is environmental interactive thingy. Switch, door, etc. item is thingy you can pick up with hand. Might be interactable, might not. It might be usable. See, there's a difference. There's a difference between interactable and usable. Usable could also be considered wieldable, a tool. You know, the crate of beer in my summer car. You pick it up, and then you use a key on it to take a drink. I don't not if you're holding it, right? If you're holding it, can you still do that? See, that's the thing. It's usable even if it's not picked up. And this is why I like playing these games for research. Monbazoo has this too. Monbazoo has the maple syrup that you drink. So silly. But if you hover over it, you get like, yeah, pick up or use. And I'm constantly pressing use when I mean to be pick up or buy or whatever. So I don't like that, I will say. I don't like... I think if it's something, even if it has physics, or if it's a thing that you move around, but if you can interact with it without holding it in your hand, would it count as a fixture? Are there loose fixtures? Yes. Yeah. Environmental drag, I think. Could potentially be loose, have physics, not be tied. It could potentially not be tied down, but usable, interactable, usable, without picking up first. Okay, so then you have pick up item. Oh, whatever. Then you have pick up item. And interact. Use fixture. Pick up item. If item is picked up, you can drop item. Or you can use item. Oops. Use item. Or you can put item in inventory. My question is, how is this controlled? I had an idea. Somewhere I have it written down. Character controller. Environment interaction system. Hit a button, hit a door, and it opens, closes. Item interaction. Pick up item, use item. Oh. On foot controls. These are already out of date, I'm pretty sure. Pick up, put down, hand interact. So, okay. Again, let's put ourselves into the mind of the player. You see an item on the ground. A bottle. No, it needs to be interactive. Yes, a bottle of Coca-Cola. Gonna have to have some kind of fake brand. A bottle of Coca-Cola. You click on it, and now the bottle is in your hand. And like we said, the options we have are... Hold on, let me just put you like to the right. Can I switch you? Can I open you to the right? That's right. Ugh. We have available to us drop item, use item, put item in inventory. I clicked to grab. What happens if I click again? What happens if I click while holding the thing in my hand? What should happen? What do you feel is the most likely thing to happen? You've clicked to pick an item up, or you have used what? Right trigger, I don't know, or A or something. What happens now if I click? Nothing? You drop it again. Dropping it again feels like... does that make sense? Does that make sense? Here, oh, okay. In my notes I say, after some consideration, I think pick up and put down should be the same button. Pick up, put down. What we can do, I can just open up Monbazoo real quick. I need something tactile. I've been playing Monbazoo with the controller. I don't quite know how it would feel with mouse and keyboard. Okay, so item, click, pick up, click, drops, pick up, drops, and of course the game has like this rotation system also. I don't know if I'll have that. Click to pick up, click to drop. That does make sense. It's funny. You see, this is why I suppose this is why testing and stuff is so important. It makes more sense in the game than in real life, or in real life in thinking about it. Here too, see, like I have this is somewhat similar to what I'm doing. Okay, I have the pruning loppers. You pick it up to have it, hold it in your hand, be able to move it around and drop it somewhere, and then you press E to have it be in a usable state. I wouldn't exactly have it, because I think here the usable state is very context dependent, right? I can only use it on a certain thing. I don't think I would have that system. Okay, that does make sense. Click drops. Right, drop item is same input. Use item would be like another key. The two hands that will add some interesting complexity. So the way I have this, the two hands is... The two hands, because you're still using one mouse or one stick or whatever, and I'm not going to do some kind of like Jurassic Park trespasser thing, you're not going to hold two things in your hand. That's not how it will work. That's just a little too complicated. What's going to happen is the second hand... the second hand is not really a hand, it's your second arm. It's like you can grab an item and you can put it away in your inventory. That's just this here. You can grab another item and put it away. And then you can grab another item and put it away. And then your hand is free while you're still carrying this other stuff. And that will be the case for certain things. But there's more to it, right? Because you also have your pocket items. So you have your MP3 player and your phone. And those are in your right pocket. You have your watch. Your watch will be on your left hand. So if I have items in my inventory, I can't use my watch. But I can grab my phone. Right? Because my hand is free. Same, and the other way around, if I have something in my hand, in my right hand, I can't grab my phone. But I can use my watch. There's little considerations. And big items... I don't have anything really big here. Well, here. Large items... Large items, you will have both hands. So you can't use any of those items, and you can't have anything under your arm. You see where I'm getting at? So in some ways, it's much better than... Like, because in Mon Bazou, you just saw I had a pile of logs. To carry those logs anywhere, I have to grab it, move it, drop it somewhere, and I have to do that 700 times. Well, if you could carry two of them under your arm, that would only be a third. Yeah, Fluff, I'm waiting for a computer that can play it. In September, my mom comes and she might rent a car so we can go to Breda and pick up a bunch of old computer parts. Because it needs game port and all kinds of other shit. But so use item would be like F or E, or it would be F or something, you know? F or something. Or G. Kind of like use item is that classic use item is that classic kind of like you're holding a flashlight. You're holding a flashlight, right? You grab the flashlight. I have a bottle. I have a bottle of water that I just picked up from the ground. I have a bottle of water. I can drop it by clicking, or I can use it and the character will go and the hydration meter will go up, you know? Okay, so those are straightforward. I think those are straightforward. That makes sense. What I'm still trying to figure out is the inventory. So I have the inventory somewhat figured out. Do I have it written down here? Pocket items, underarm inventory. Okay, so this is what I have written down. I don't know how much I still feel this, okay? Items that can be picked up are either small, medium, large, or extra large. Underarms has 3 small slots, or 1 medium, and 2 small slots, or 1 large. Large and XL items are held with both hands. Large and XL items can be picked up if underarm inventory is in use. Don't know if that's true. When underarm inventory is in use, running is disabled. Items are picked up with right hand, except for left, large and XL, which require both. Click to pick up item, click, and then press other button to store item in the underarm inventory. And this is where I have a question now with something that I came up with earlier today. So if the underarm inventory is full, sorry, how I have it designed now is the underarm inventory functions like a magazine, first in, last out. Or yes. So if I have room for 3 small items, I put a controller here, I put a roll of duct tape here, and I put my multimeter here. Right? Basically how this happens is I have these 3 items in front of me. I click on the controller, and it's now in my hand. I hit a button, a store item button, and the item goes into my armpit. I click on the roll of duct tape, and the duct tape is now in my hand. I hit the store item button, and it now goes under my arm, right? And I pick up the multimeter, and the multimeter has sharp prongs, so I need to watch out. It's now under my arm. I now have 3 items under my arm. If I hit the retrieve, if my hand is free, I hit the retrieve item button, and what goes in my hand is the first item. And this is now in my hand. And I can put it back, I can use it, I can drop it. I can do all the things as if I just picked up an item, right? So this item is now in my hand. Okay. And then if I drop this and my hand is free again, now if I hit the retrieve item button, I can get the roll of duct tape. Okay. But what if I was thinking about Landlord Super? And Landlord Super has this tool belt, right? And to grab a tool, you need to look down and place the cursor on the tool to select it and then grab it. What if I have the player look at the inventory and use the mouse to pick? Yeah. Does that work? How much is the player going to use this? How many times is there going to be a situation where the player will need to carry more than 1 item? As I was playing Montbazou and I was enjoying it, and I was chopping wood, and I was doing the incredibly tedious job of moving all those wooden logs to the bed of the pickup truck, I was thinking, I don't know if I want this kind of repetitive action in my game. There's a lot of stuff that I haven't considered yet that is still like deep in the process of design. One is to run the little store, you probably will have to stock shelves or something. And there's a situation where I can imagine, okay, it would be nice to carry a lot of stuff. But also, like I had this with when I would see other people play My Summer Car. They would just take the car out, right? They would just take the car out and not be prepared. And My Summer Car especially is like, if you're gonna go on a journey, you have to prep for a journey. Bring liquids and foods with you in the car. Okay, cool. But then, say your car breaks down. Whatever, the radiator breaks or the pistons shoot out of the engine block. One of the two. Then you have to walk to somewhere, potentially for a long time. I want that fear. I want the ability for the car to break down in the middle of nowhere and for you to have to walk at least several minutes. But all the time, you're also having to worry about your heat, your hydration levels, etc., your energy levels. So, like, that's what was annoying about My Summer Car is people had to figure out like this juggling system to have like a bag of chips and your beer crate and kind of grab it, throw it, and then grab the other one, move along with it, and just kind of. And then I'm like, then the immersion is completely gone because that's not what would really be happening in rural Finland in the summer. You could just put shit in your pocket, you could just hold it differently. So this is my solution to that. So I do think there will be situations where you have your Suzuki Samurai all loaded up with some snacks, and the radiator pops, or the battery runs out, or you run out of fuel because you didn't plan ahead, or whatever, fine. Now you can. The idea in the game is you can call up a towmobile, a tow truck. That's what it's called. I was like, a towing car? You can call up a tow truck that'll bring you to the garage, which is relatively close to your house. That costs money. That also costs time. But also, what if your phone doesn't have enough battery? The phone will have a battery level too, and if that's not charged, what then? Well, then you'll have to walk, right? Okay. So then you'll have to walk with some of the snacks. You can carry up to 4 items. You can have 1 in your hand, and you can have 3 under your arm. You can have a couple of bottles of water and whatever. So I think that could work, but I think looking at it and clicking, one, that will have to assume that I'll have a first-person body, and I don't know that I will, because that is one of those elements that I'm like, I would like to have it, but it complicates matters, and it's something that I could potentially cut. And if it's something that I can potentially cut, then it's something that I will have to design around, or design in a way that it's not necessarily there. It'll be more aesthetic than anything, right? If you have legs and a body, you'll have arms. I think you'll probably, if I'm doing an underarm inventory, you'll probably have arms. It'll look weird otherwise. If I'm having you look at your watch, it's going to be weird for that to be floating, right? And I want the, when you use the phone and stuff like that, I want like a little finger to be animated. So you'll have arms. I don't know if you'll have the rest of your body. Even though I automatically give any first-person shooter that has like legs and a body an extra point. So I need to design it as if you don't. And if you don't have a body, and I'm making you look down at like a disembodied arm that is holding things up to nothing, that'll be a little strange. Whereas if I kind of have it like sticking out of the bottom of the camera, let's run the game real quick. You know, if I just have it like where the light switch is now, if it's kind of like sticking out of the corner, these items, I think that could work. So I do think that leads me to conclude that yes, put item in inventory is you know, a separate button. You know, a separate input. Separate. How am I gonna complete this game in any capacity if it takes me 3 hours to figure out whether or not I'm going to use a key or not? I don't know. But when it is completed, it'll be very very well thought out. Separate input. Okay, and then this can lead to like take item out of inventory. Take item out of inventory. Separate input. If hand is free. So which inputs do I have? Controls. Nope. Figuring this out. Create group. Controls / inputs. Add card, move. Move is just, you know. Yeah, move. Look. Run. Crouch. Movement. Sorry, like move and look. Crouch, zoom. Zoom, and this is then interact. And then we have for interact, we have hand interact, and we have body interact. Hand interact. Body interact. Drop, no, not drop item, use item. Inventory, store in inventory. Store in inventory. And take from inventory. There was one more! There was one more! What about using an item on something? What about using an item on something? And I'm trying to think here about, like... Okay, well, this is different. Keys. You have a key ring. That is just click. That's fine. That's just hand interact. You select the key from your key ring. It is selected. And then now when you hover over the right lock and you click, it can use that key. Right? Use Mentos on cola bottle. Well, I'm trying to think. I had this idea of like, yeah, what if the system that I have for trash, right? What if, like, I don't know if the items that I pick up, are those physics items? Do I just drop them? Can I let the character place them? You know, can I rotate? Can I take a water bottle and how do I throw it out into the trash? Right? How do I just kind of hover it over a trash can and then let go and it's in the trash And then whatever, the game manages that water bottle, right? The game detects a water bottle in a trash can and does whatever with that. Either makes it disappear or adds it to the trash bag counter, something like that. Or do I have it in my hand and I use it on the trash can and then that happens? And how do I use item on item? I think that would probably just be click again, right? I think that would probably just be click again. That seems correct to me. One throw action, one drop action. I'm not gonna have a throw, I think. While I'm also doing all this, I'm trying to consider having the game function on a controller. And I know on a controller I'm limited because there's one more thing that I am trying to work out, which is the pocket items: your watch, your phone, your keys, and your wallet. There's one more: watch, phone, keys, watch, wallet, MP3 player. But like, how? What kind of item would you use on something that isn't a key? Let's say I want to give something to somebody. There's an NPC, and I want to give them an item. I want to hand it to them. I could just drop it in a particular location. What if I'm building something? If I'm attaching a thing to another thing? If I'm, I don't know. I don't know if this is going to be in the game, but I have some food and I want to microwave it. How do I microwave it? Do I hover this roll of duct tape over the microwave and the microwave highlights and I click and it goes into the microwave? Or do I open the microwave and then I have to like slide it in and drop it as a physics item? And then I have to close the microwave and whatever. I'm trying to future-proof this. I had this when I thought about the trash can, but I think microwave would be a storage device. Yeah. What? Okay. I had the dream. I have a lot of long-term ideas of stuff I want to put into the game, right? One of them would be finding a little game console, or buying a game console or something, and then being able to find or buy games out in the wild, discs or cartridges, whatever, and then how do I put cartridge in game console? Right? And I don't mean how have the console detect that a cartridge is in. That's fine. Okay, storage device, whatever. But, like, I have the cartridge in my hand. Here, I have Rise of the Robots for the Super NES in my hand. Alright? I'm holding it as a character. I'm holding it, right? Camera is here. I can drop it. I can put it in my underarm inventory. Okay, I can't use it on its own, separately. Which button? So, okay, I'm looking at the game console. Right? I'm looking at the game console. The Polystation 64. And I have the cartridge in my hand. What button do I press to make it click in? I think it would be this. I would think it would be drop item, right? Like the interface could say use cartridge on console. Because I have click to pick up, I have click to drop, I have use if it's a usable item, if it's a flashlight, use turns it on or off, that kind of stuff. And I have buttons to put it in my inventory. But I feel it would make sense to me if I'm looking at something and the interface is telling me use this on this, I'm gonna press click. I'm gonna press the drop button. I think that makes sense. So that's what I'm gonna say. Give me 1 second as I add that to this list. Add card. Use item on fixture. That can be yellow too. That's the same input. Okay. I am now going to quickly get myself a sandwich, and I'll be right back. And then we're still going to talk about pocket items. Pocket items and how we use those. And then I'll be going for like a half an hour more. And then I have to go to work. Okay. So there's one last kind of like complex situation that I'm trying to figure out while I hope the microphone doesn't pick up too much chewing. So I've got move, look, run, crouch, zoom. All pretty straightforward. I've got hand interact, body interact, use item, store in inventory, take from inventory. Also, now makes sense and is straightforward. There is one more form of interaction that is important. Well, there's two. There's another one which is like NPC interaction. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. That'll probably be hand interact. This is the wrong one. I want to group. Pocket items. So, at all times, you can alt-drag the cards to copy. This is all Obsidian, yeah. Not working. Alt-drag is not working. Control? Control. Thank you, Coder Wolf. Very useful, yeah, because I have lots of notebooks and I was keeping everything in like text files anyway, so having them in a hierarchy helps. There's also like a graph view Because you can link them all together, all the text files, but I don't do that a lot, so it's not very useful to me. And with a project this size, I'm going to try to get more like project management skills. I may need to get a Kanban board working of some type, you know? Actually, just one more. We might not be able to get to that today. But it's vehicle. Put you there. Put you... Sorry. Put you there. So pocket items are phone... phone. Hello. MP3. Wallet. Can get them a little closer together, I think. Not that close. Watch. And unfortunately, it's not 4 items, it's 5 items. Keys. Key ring. And for the most part, I want these items to be on you at all times. Num Num Fighter, I might want to put my my cat who passed away last year in the game somehow. Just a little reference, a little way to immortalize him, you know? Thank you. So, the thing is, these items, let's see, the wallet and keyring are very straightforward and very simple. The wallet is how you access your cash. It's how you tell how much money you have. It won't just be in a corner somewhere. If you want to know how much cash you have, you bring up your wallet. It should be like based on this. This is my old wallet. Do I have it here? this highly used Vans. This is a gross thing, but you know, like a Velcro wallet. You open it up. You know, it opens up like at the bottom of the screen, and like some cash pokes out, and there might be a little note that says how much cash you have or something like that, and other kind of money-related information, stuff like the Suzuki Samurai probably needs to be paid off or something. That's simple. Keyring is also simple. Doors can be locked. Doors can be locked. The car needs a key. If you have a key to a door, you need to activate your keyring. Select the key so that the key is in your hand, and then use the key. Now, the keyring can be lost in the sense that it can be like in your car, I think. That makes sense, right? You take the whole keyring out and stick it in your car. That's the only place where the keyring leaves your body. But if it's not on your body, it's in your car. That's it. The watch is always on you forever. And so the thing with the electronic devices is, I've already sketched this out quite a bit too. Let me show that off. I like showing that I've done some work. This is my big Aruba Untitled Adventure workbook. Like, the watch has watch-like functions. It has a light, it has a stopwatch, it has alarms. Obviously, it tells you what time it is. But I want it to be, like, usable, right? So you hit the button to engage watch mode. And when you're in watch mode, certain buttons will have you operate the buttons on your watch. It's going to be like a Casio watch. It's going to have 3 or 4 buttons. My question is, can you walk while doing that? Can you do that while in the car? I don't know. But the watch is on you at all times. It doesn't need to be charged or anything. The phone and MP3 player are both very complex devices. The MP3 player will play MP3s from a folder, if you have it. Maybe I can have some musician friends who supply songs for it too, or get some royalty-free stuff, or whatever. Or if I have budget commission stuff, who knows? But the interface will be fully available. That's also already mostly designed. Steering controls become erratic whilst checking your watch and driving. Well, that's the thing, they don't have to be. I don't have to program any of that. That is something that'll come naturally from you not paying attention. But my question is just like, how do I think you can have the watch be watchable while you're driving, but maybe not controllable, you know? But it would be cool if I could have you check your phone while you're driving. But I don't know if I can have you control your phone while you're driving. Let me just add that into my unsorted notes. Using pocket items while in driving mode is just checking them, but can't control them. Because when you're in driving mode, what I'm simulating is you have your hands on the steering wheel and or shifter, and you're using your feet to drive. It's funny how cars are such full body controlling experiences. But I'm simulating that with you on a mouse and keyboard and or controller. You need to be able to look. You need to be able to potentially interact with stuff in the car, like turn on your lights, or, well, there won't be a radio probably, but, you know, buttons and stalks in your car. You'll probably be staring at all times, so at least one hand will be on the steering wheel. You know what I mean? Like okay, this is what I'm trying to think about, right? Okay. You're driving. Yeah? You check your watch, and then you shift. Do I simulate? Do I take steering control away from you because both of your hands are engaged? It won't be an automatic. So the shifting will be in your hands. I need to write this down. Okay. In driving mode, if you check your watch, left, and you shift, right, will you not be able to steer because both hands are engaged? I mean, that being said, shifting is a quick thing, right? It takes a second or two. So the way I have it now, the way I have it in my head now, is each of these items can be selected individually. So if the required hand is free, right? So for the phone and the MP3, it's your right hand. For the watch, the wallet, and keyring, a keyring might be right hand also. For the watch and wallet, it's your left hand. Then you can grab the item. You have the item in front of you. You probably can't walk, because I want you to use directional input to be able to control some of these things, right? The phone is like an old Nokia. It has an arrow cluster, and it has a confirm button and a reject button. Don't need to worry about numbers, because that's too much. So if I have WASD and Q and E as the keys that you use for navigating the phone's interface, then obviously I can't have WASD for walking. You can still look around. You could potentially take pictures with the phone. That would be a nice thing. You can probably use body interact while holding any of these items. So you can set Can you still interact with fixtures? Can you interact with fixtures? The fixtures, the word fixtures, by the way, has already become like a revolutionary thing that's going to really help me separate things in design and code. Can you interact with fixtures while a pocket item is out? It makes sense to me that if you are holding your phone, well, you're not walking while holding the phone. Okay. Thought. Okay. You press. Okay, so for these items, right? I have number keys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? You press 1 on your keyboard, you take your phone out. You press 1 what if one press is you take it out to check. 2 press is it comes closer and now you're interacting with it. 3 press is you put it away. I think this works. I think this works because then you can potentially take them out while driving, while walking, and whatever, because 1 press just means you're looking at it. Right? 1 press just means I take out my phone. I take out my phone They just look at it. I can do everything else still. I can't interact because my hand is full. I need like a handful, right hand used variable. That's what I need. And then I press it again to get it closer and to actually use it. And then my movement is limited. And then I press it again to put it away. Do these smaller interactions add to the main experience? These are the main experience. I want you to feel like this world is real, like you're living in it, like you're a part of it. I'm creating a world in which you interact with that world the same way I did when I was 18. I had for the longest time this dream of making like a walking simulator maker that is kind of based on the build engine, the Duke Nukem 3D engine. Not actually technically, it would be built from scratch. And I don't have the technical skills to actually build it. But what I love about those build engine games is that every little thing is interactable. Every light switch, every toilet flushes, everything that feels like it's something you can press it and something happens. A door opens, but the light turns on or off. And it's all these little useless interactions, but I think they create this sense of space in an existence in a world that I find very compelling. So for this, I want every light switch to work. If a light switch doesn't work, it'll still click. It'll just be a broken lamp. You know? So I find all of that very important. But let me write this down real quick before I lose it. Pocket items. Press pocket items? That's what it's called. Press key once to check item. So grab it and look at it, but can still move around. Do everything you can as long as your hand isn't full. Isn't used. Okay, this is a big breakthrough that's really helping me. Press key once again to use item, aka interact with the device's interface or whatever. Can no longer move in this mode. Can't engage in this mode while driving. Press key third time to put away. I have it figured out. This cheers me up a lot. Yes. Now I just need to code it all. But this makes sense. This makes sense. I have important things figured out. And a lot of it is going to have to be hard coded in. But I think I get it. Is there anything else? I think this was it. I've been going for almost 4 hours. Mrs. Bob was out of the house extra early today because she was doing a tour of one of her workplace's facilities. She works at a cancer research center. Today I have, like, I think I've certainly got a better concept of how my interaction and state system is supposed to work. And it turns out the state system is actually quite bare bones. And I don't necessarily think I'm gonna use... I might use states for the pocket items. I think that would probably make sense. Like, you have a phone state, MP3 state, and those states have a check state and a use state. Pocket items... Add states. Phone state. MP3 state. Check state. Use state. There's a whole lot, so much more I have to learn and understand. And I'm gonna have to, like, live in this code a lot more. But I definitely feel like I've made some good progress today towards understanding the code that I do have. And also understanding the code that I do have and its structure and where I can insert my own stuff. What else do I have on the to-do list? Let's see. Replace crouch animations with tweens. Make radical not a play that. Player on with raycast distance. We did that. Chart out on canvas. We did that. Determine controls. Map out controls in dictionary. We did this. We did this. Okay, wow. So weird. We actually did a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna wrap it up there. I'm gonna just chill a little bit, and then I have to do work the whole afternoon. See, I want to work. I don't want to do my job. Job's bad. Work good. But thank you everybody for hanging out. I appreciate it as always. I'll be back on Tuesday probably. I don't know. Depending on when Mrs. Bob goes to work, I might be back on Tuesday morning for more of this. And Tuesday evening. I don't know what yet. I think I'm done with Miasmata. I'm considering doing something about certain FMV games, so I might look those up, depending on how busy I am. Also incredibly busy with all kinds of stuff, so I might not be here on Tuesday evening at all. But thank you for hanging out. I hope you have a good... Today is the day. And remember to have a lovely sandwich or something. And that the World Cup doesn't matter.